Okay. Thanks everyone for being here for the May Systems Performance Committee monthly meeting. I am co-chair Bella Irons, and we are going to roll into this slowly as people are coming into the room. And let's see, I will start with the welcoming. Welcome everyone to this meeting and the theory of change and what we are standing within and surrounding us. The theory of change is if we create a homelessness response system that centers the voices of people with lived experience of homelessness, then we can focus on responding to needs and eliminating inequities to end homelessness. And I will ask Kelsey, if we can do roll call.
The room is on mute, I believe.
Thanks, Ruby. Kelsey, the room
is on mute, pardon me.
Yeah.
Ben.
Hello, I'm here.
Bella.
I'm here.
Bella.
Present.
Christina.
Here.
Frank. Christina Height. Marvin.
Present.
Mustafa.
Yes. Hello. Sorry for that. I just have client.
Ruby.
Yes.
Here. Here.
Sherry. Sherry.
Here.
Thank you. Tamra.
Here.
And Victoria. All right, we have 8 members here and 3 absent, and quorum is met.
Thanks, Kelsey. I would like to have Marvin come up for the land acknowledgement, please.
Sure, can people hear me, see me? Friday, land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we reside on the unceded ancestral home of the Coastal Salish people who have reserved treaty rights to this land, including the Duwamish, Snohomish, Suquamish, Muckleshoot, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, and other indigenous people. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. As settlers on this land, we are aware of and strive to continue educating ourselves on the multi-layered injustices that these communities still experience. The Duwamish and other indigenous tribes were the first people to be made houseless in this region. These communities have endured not just genocide, forced displacement by settlers, but the century-long attacks on their language, ceremony, food, medicine, education, governance, and so much more. The Duwamish have been denied federal recognition, by the US government, meaning that they have been denied the right to establish sovereign tribal government or possess land in a protected trust. Their continued political and economic marginalization is especially apparent in the issues of housing today. Native people experience homelessness, cost burden, overcrowding, inadequate housing, and loan denial at higher rates than any other race or ethnicity here in King County. High rates of rent and land prices push many of them to fringes of this area, away from community spaces and services in the midst In the midst of this oppression, these indigenous communities have survived and we are are still here. Fighting for the recognition of and their sovereignty. Their incredible resilience is evident in the support systems they have built into combating housing insecurity, homelessness within their own communities. We are committed to becoming allies with the Indigenous-led organizations, working with them to find ways to address past and present injustices. We humbly invite you to walk alongside us in this process in whatever way makes sense to you, whether it's learning history, advocating tribal political rights, paying real rent to the Duwamish, or something else. We recognize that undoing such deeply rooted patterns of oppression must be a collective effort, one that involves building and nourishing a constellation of relationships. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. And I have Ruby Romero for the cultural share.
Yeah, thanks, Bella. I was actually hoping I could yield my time to Tamara Bauman, who's also a committee member here today, who I believe has a good cultural piece for us to hear about.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ruby.
Yeah, thank you, Ruby. In honor of Pacific Islander Awareness Month, I wanted to share a few thoughts about a project I'm working on that blends System Performance Committee content with the well-being blueprint principles and incorporating values from my Pacifica culture. And so I think what AI helped me generate is like a beautiful summary of what matters to me as a human being and what matters, I think, to our community. And so what I have here is like a foundational piece. The Wellbeing Blueprint emphasizes equity, dignity, and systemic transformation. Key principles that align with Pacifica values and housing justice include centering community power, ensure decision-making authority rests with those directly impacted by homelessness, use Talanoa circles, basically talking circles, and community advisory boards to shape policies and service delivery. Eliminating harmful trade-offs, shift funding models to prioritize well-being over crisis response. That's important. I would say maybe I should probably reframe that to be well-being planning. Advocate for procurement structures that embed cultural integrity and long-term stability. Restorative and transformative practices. Integrate healing-centered housing models that include mental health support, cultural ceremonies, and intergenerational living spaces. We use storytelling and oral histories to reframe homelessness narratives from deficit-based to resilience-centered. These principles ensure that housing solutions don't just provide shelter, but actively restore dignity and agency and cultural representation of Pacifica communities. And that's my piece.
Thank you, Tamara. And I like that empathic attunement from AI and that assistance. So I appreciate that. Very important to keep in mind, especially this month. Okay, we're a little bit behind schedule, but we'll just keep plugging away here. I am going to open up the floor for public comment at this time. And request if anybody has seen any questions or comments come in through public chat.
No hands are currently raised and nothing is in the Q&A. The Q&A will be monitored throughout the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Kelsey. Should we give this another minute for public comment? This is the second time I am opening the floor for public comment at this time. Please come forward in the chat if you have any questions or would like to address anything. If there's still no hands raised or any comments that have been received, I will go ahead and move to the next item on the agenda, which is the COC board updates, and invite Ruby Romero to bring those to us here. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Bella, thank you so much. This is Ruby Romero, the co-chair of the COC board. And I just wanted to give a brief update from our meeting earlier this month. We got an update from the general counsel and was introduced to the general counsel of KCRHA to give us an update on the funding situation from the federal government and kind of where we're at with a response to that here in King County. And we were also voted to include a discussion around board recruitment as well as the membership recruitment at our special meeting that unfortunately did have to get canceled due to a link issue. It was corrupt or something. I'm not really sure what happened there, but we were able to reschedule that discussion to our June 4th COC meeting. And so we're going to extend our time a little bit there. And hopefully people are able to join us and give public comment at that meeting in regards to that. We also did a review of our COC programs that are held by KCRHA and kind of got some stats on those. And that was a really thorough presentation from Kelsey. We're going to have, like I said, our next meeting is going to be June 4th, which is the first Wednesday of the month from 2 to 4:30, I believe, is our extended time. And then before we meet next here, we're actually going to have our COC convening the day before. So I wanted to make sure I put in a plug for that. That's going to be the 17th, which is a Tuesday. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's going to be at the North Seattle Community College campus and online as well. And I think that's everything from us here at the COC board.
Thanks, Ruby. Has the information been sent out to the COC membership? Do we have any updates on virtual or in person? I believe it's both. RSVPs, is there like a timeline for making sure that we get our RSVPs in for the convening?
Yes, there is. And I'm going to lean on Kelsey to remind me of the specific date. I believe she's handling the smart sheet.
Yep, RSVPs and save the dates and the registration link have been sent out a number of times and will be continued to be posted and promoted through June 9th. June 9th is our cutoff for folks to RSVP, so we can ensure to have enough space as well as lunches ordered.
Thanks, Ruby and Kelsey. Well, good. We're looking forward to that in person again. Okay, so thank you for that. We are, yes.
Before we launch ourselves through the agenda, I wanted to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay,
Um,
my motion, would be to in space of where we had, approved application for new member be removed. And we put into that space, a well-being food blueprint.
I hear that motion. Does anybody second that motion? We do have the actual applicant, as far as I understand, in the room waiting now. Is that correct? Do we still have the applicant that's up for review and vote
Yes.
waiting? Okay.
Yeah, that kind of changes things.
That does kind of change things. I withdraw my motion if she's here. It's beautiful.
Thanks, Marvin. So everybody's on the same page. The agenda can remain the same as it is posted online. But thank you for that, Marvin.
No worries.
And with that said, now we're a little bit ahead of agenda. So yay, us. And we are at the co-chair election. So for those that don't know, Marvin has been my wonderful co-chair from the beginning of this year. And we are in a position now where we need to fill that position. And we've had an applicant come in for us to, and I've sent out her application a number of weeks ago, and trust that you will have that for review here, but she is here to come in and speak to her application now, and for us to be able to have a discussion and or a vote for our second co-chair of the SPC. So Christina, if you would like to come off of mute and talk about your desire to be the co-chair of the SPC and the application that you submitted, please.
Christina, you might be on mute. It looks like you're on mute on our end.
Hopefully we're not having technical difficulties right now. Christina, if you can let us know in the chat or if you have the opportunity to raise your hand and use the emojicons to let us know if you're here and if you're hearing us.
Interesting. I see her as a panelist on the screen, but not. Yeah,
It's a Zoom.
this is an artifact.
Just flagging that I am sending her a text message to also communicate.
Go and pee.
Oh, there she is. Hey, hey, Christina.
Thank you for letting us know that you can hear and that you're here, Christina. We'll give you space there.
It's going to be a necessary.
While we're waiting for Christina, can I verify that Shauna McMahon is going to be pulled up into the panelist right after for the committee member election?
Yep, on it.
Oh, there she is. Thank you. Thank you, Kelsey. Ruby, do you have your hand raised?
Yeah, sure. Just briefly, while we have this downtime here, I wanted to notify the committee that I do need to step away at 2:30 for a short meeting, and I will be back. I wanted to confirm that I've read the applications on both oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the word. I apologize. But I've read both applications and I'm in support. And I don't know how to go about that correctly. If I'm going to be away from the meeting, how would I put it in the chat? I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing here.
You would put your vote for both in the chat so that we can affirm it in the notes, and I will record it in the minutes.
Thank you for that. And I will go ahead and do that. And I'll be seeing you guys here shortly.
Thank you for letting us know, Ruby, and for the confirmation, Kelsey. Christina, are you still there and able to come to the fore with your application at this time? Thank you for everyone's patience right now. I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Daniel. I'll fill a little bit of space, just kind of going back to Tamara's discussion on the well-being blueprint. And I think we'll have time to probably dive into that a little bit more. It is the case that we have a system report in the Homeless Management Information System, the HMIS, called the King County Seattle Outcomes Report. And we have on our project plan for the year to make updates, and specifically a well-being metric to be included on that report once that work is finalized. So it is on the work plan for 2025, and our BitFocus team, Rohan's the representative right now of our HMIS vendor and admin support team. It is on our roadmap. So when that work does get done, for everyone listening on this point, we do have it already hard coded into work that we can execute once we have it all sketched out. All to say,
thank
we're
you,
ready to
Daniel.
Figure that in the report. The hard work, though, I think, is building the metric, and that'll take some time. Obviously, it's taking time.
Thank you for that information, Daniel. Yeah, that is of importance to bring to the forefront. And we have been discussing upcoming trainings and the needs. So having an additional co-chair again will help in a lot of ways, I trust. So request for advice. Do we need to do a motion to change the timing of the voting in the application?
I don't think so.
No, if we need to move forward to the next item and just come back to the other one, that's okay.
Okay. I think at this point, we'll go ahead and move a table, the co-chair election right now, and raise up Shauna McMahon's application for a committee, a SBC committee member, for discussion, review, and voting. Thank you for being here, Shauna, after all of the communications for a while. If you would like to unmute and bring your application for everyone and why you would like to be a part of the SPC again.
I don't see myself. Am I not supposed to see myself, or did I do something wrong? Am I on camera?
Well, typical attendees are have
Not.
different camera settings.
Okay, great. That's fine. I just want to make sure I didn't mess something up.
We can hear you. Thanks,
I guess
Shoshana.
that's the most important part.
It is.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. Glad to finally be here. My name is Shauna McMahon. I'm the Executive Director of Emmanuel Community Services in South Lake Union. We are a social service agency that serves our neighbors experiencing hunger and homelessness. We have 4 programs and serve about 15,000 people a year. And we do so on a very, very small staff. For all 4 programs, I only have 5 full-time staff people. And yet all of our folks that attend our day center or hygiene center and our shelter are enrolled in HMIS, and we are actively working with them on any services that they might need. And so one of the reasons I was on the System Performance Committee pre-global pandemic in earlier lifetimes was to just represent that voice of a smaller agency that is trying to make a big impact with small amounts of people. A lot of agencies have entire departments that all they do is HMIS data entry. And my person that does HMIS data entry runs the hygiene center. She does case management. She takes care of the operations. And when she's not around, like right now, when she's on her honeymoon, I'm the person that does all that. So our capacity for work and paperwork and systems, it is just more effective for us when they are very streamlined. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's no problem to have someone enter X, Y, or Z, or to do this, and then these 5 steps. And I would be able to say, well, for a small agency, this is what would work better, or this was great, fantastic, or you know, maybe can we try it a different way? So that's really what I want to lift up, because sorry, my little pup Coco is tired of being secluded for the day. You know, a lot of the folks that we serve, especially in our hygiene center, are not touched by other programs. So they might not be enrolled at other shelters or enrolled in CEA through CCS or any of the regional access points. We might be the only people interacting with them. And so we need to be able to engage with the system in a way that best serves them, so that they also have equal access to housing opportunities and other things. I think Daniel and I talked a while back about a different issue, which is what kind of raised this back up onto my radar, about also just looking forward as the funding landscape changes. Which, since Daniel and I spoke about this other HMIS issue, it has changed considerably more. But as the funding landscape continues to change, we also want to make sure our people are represented in HMIS, even if they are not on the housing path or coordinated entry path. You know, there are a lot of folks still living outside that are not counted, you know, even on the point in time count. And so HMIS is another way to capture that there are still these people out there in need of community and in need of services. So yeah, that's kind of why I would like to be a part of just this process and making sure people are equally represented.
Thank you, Shauna. Thank you for wanting to come back into the fold, and for all of your experience that you're bringing with you, and filling out the application and giving us grace through the communication challenges that have happened. Let me personally say that. And I am grateful that you're here today, and that we could keep you on the agenda. So I officially can't make any motions, but does anybody have any comments, any questions for Shauna at this time upon reviewing her application for committee membership, and also hearing, you know, her dedication and what she is bringing to the committee?
This is Christina. Are you entertaining a motion to accept the application?
I absolutely would accept a motion. I'm first asking if there's any questions or if anybody has any comments that they would like to raise before a motion.
Yeah, this is Daniel. Sorry I didn't raise my hand here. If we're getting formal, certainly can. I just want to say thank you, Shauna. I know it was a bumpy road for you to get here today. I totally own parts of that. So my apologies on the thready communication and just not having that streamlined for you. So thanks for having the grit, showing up today. I think that's a really good sign that you care enough to be here today. And I do also want to say that really resonates with me, what you're describing about small organization trying to be competitive in this funding environment, and then really this governing body oversees the oversight of our information system. You're going to be getting information on reports. Want to invest in training for not just for you but all members here on how to read those reports, what those metrics look like. And I think there's an equity piece that I hold very important to this work. And I think one of those is organizations where, Shauna, you're the CEO, the accountant, and you're also probably doing case management and handing out food. And that when we talk about performance metrics and we try to compare, that we're taking into consideration the context of where it's appropriate and not appropriate to compare. And then when we're setting policies that could have maybe a neutral effect on larger organizations, but have a negative impact on capacity and workload for smaller organizations, I think what you're championing as a representative of is really important. And so I think I'm in support of what you're bringing to the table as a delegate for the communities that you serve, Shauna. If I could, I guess my question, there's a lot of oration on my end, but I guess my question for you is, could you describe a little bit about the communities that you serve, just so we can understand your reach in the region?
Yeah, sure. We have 4 programs. Like I said, serving our neighbors experiencing hunger and homelessness. We operate a food bank and a meal program. Our meal program stretches across all 4 of our programs, and we serve about 34,000 meals a year. We have a day center or a hygiene center that is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 2, and it provides laundry, showers, place to sleep, breakfast and lunch, lots of coffee and cold water, all those things. And just really a safe place for people to find respite for a few hours each day. And it is a very tight community. That is the community that I said there's lots of folks that aren't touched by other programs. We have lots of folks that have been coming there for decades. So they consider ICS kind of their home base. Regardless if they are sleeping in a shelter or sleeping in a tent or, in a makeshift lean-to somewhere. And then we have a shelter for men who are in recovery, and they attend outpatient treatment during the day, and they live with us on nights and weekends, and they do that. They live with us for anywhere from usually 5 to 10 months until they get through their program, and then from us they go into stable housing. And then one of our meal programs is a community meal, which is just doors open, anybody hungry. So we see a lot of seniors in that community that might be in SRO, single adult, affordable housing, and not have much human interaction. So they come for some community and visiting and talking. We have folks who are unhoused. We have folks that live in permanent supportive housing, and we have folks that just live in the neighborhood, just all coming together to eat and have community for one another. And we see about, I want to say about between 4,000 and 5,000 people a year in our hygiene center. And right now, the conversation that Danielle and I had a few months ago is how can we capture some of these people who don't feel comfortable yet sharing all their personal information, because they are important and they are important to be counted. But sometimes some of those folks who've been outside a long time and just have been let down and taken advantage of, they are very reticent to give information out. And so we're trying to find a way to do that. And so we have folks like that really are barely touched anywhere. And then like I said, we have folks that come every single day for decades. So we serve our hygiene center, which is, mostly our unhoused, is about, well, it was, a bunch of these folks got housed. So the last time I looked at demographics, it was about a third Spanish speaking population, a third Black or African American, and then a third everybody else, including Asian, Native American, and Indigenous, and white. So that is the racial demographic, and all ages 18 and up. That helps.
Thank you. Thank you for all the good work. I mean, honestly, incredible work on a team that you described as being rather small. So just kudos to you all. And, I'm not a voting member, but in terms of KCRHA, having Shauna and ICS is in line with, regionalism, trying to draw in other areas and make sure that the voice heard. And then with our theory of change, really supporting marginalized communities in the homeless system. I think this is you're a great representative for what I'm seeing. And I know we have working through HMI stuff separately on that. But I think one of the things that I've heard from co-chairs on this committee is that there is a need to try to get those who don't access the system. How do we connect them? Because we know there's an unknown amount of those households out there. And so, yeah, I just see a lot of alignment there, speaking on behalf of the data management team here at KCRHA.
Thank you for the question, Daniel, and thank you for your response, Shauna. That was really a wonderful synopsis, and it really provided me a lot more clarity. Are there any other comments, questions for Shauna at this time from anybody? Otherwise, I'll open it up for a motion for voting.
This is Christina. I move to accept her application.
This is Tamara. I second.
Thank you, Christina and Tamara. Kelsey, do you want to do a vote, or how would you like to do this?
Y'all are muted over there.
Kelsey, did you hear my question about being able to move to a vote? We're not hearing you.
Sorry, my bad. We were on mute. Yeah. Have it.
All right.
Thank you.
The vote is to approve Shauna McMahon as a member of the System Performance Committee. Ben?
I approve.
Yep, thank you. Bella?
Approve.
Christina?
Yes.
Frank? Christina Height? Marvin?
Yes.
Mustafa?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Tamara?
Yes.
With 8 of the members present voting to approve, it is passed. Shauna is approved with 8 members approving.
Did that count Ruby's vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelsey. Welcome, Shauna. We're glad to have you. Yay.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And if you do have other obligations, we feel free to remove yourself from the room at that time. Now, I would like to go back to the first order of business before Shauna's application and voting, which was the new co-chair election. And Christina, so are you available now, Christina, to come to the floor and talk about your application and your reasoning for why you would like to be a co-chair of the SPC? I invite you at this time.
Takes me a minute to get off. And I just want to take the time and volunteer myself as a co-chair before our next official set of elections to finish out this current term. I have been involved with this committee for 7, maybe 8 years now. And I'm part of the committee when it was with All Home and transferred over to KCRHA. And I am very much into systems dynamics. That is part of my degree with my master's in public health is, systems, how systems perform and how we can work and make things better around system performance. And that's it. I have the opportunity and time to step up and volunteer right now. As I work on my master's thesis, I've got that time. And otherwise I am a homeless, two-spirited individual, a military veteran with a nursing degree, and quite familiar with the dynamics, as well as been involved with the response system, but also the point in time count, even when it was with All Home, with working on setting it up and being on committees around getting as close as we can correct information and data around my unhoused neighbors in the community. And so that's pretty much why I wanted to step up and help out.
Thank you so much, Christina. Yeah, that background, I really appreciate understanding, and we don't always have the time, especially with an agenda-driven, meeting, but I really appreciate you expanding on just the breadth and depth that you bring to this. It's tremendously powerful, and I personally am very excited to be able to understand a lot more of your passion for this, and also what you can bring as a newer member of the COC and the SPC. So at this time, I'd like to ask if anybody has any questions or comments for Christina and for her application as the co-chair of the SPC. Please raise them now. Do we have any questions or anything in the chat? I apologize, I haven't kept on it. Okay, I do not see any further questions for Christina. This speaks to that experience level, I'm sure, that you're bringing. I open it up for a motion for Christina's application as co-chair of the SPC for voting, if anybody would like to make that motion.
Hi, this is Tamara. I move that we move to elevate Christina to co-chair.
Second it. This is Sherry.
Thank you, Tamara and Sherry. Kelsey?
Yep, we are off mute. So the vote is to approve Christina as the co-chair of the SPC. Ben?
Approve.
Bella?
Approve.
Christina Height? Frank? As the applicant, I believe we do not call on you, Christina. So I will skip over you. You will not be counted in the tally. Marvin,
Approve.
Mustafa,
Approve.
we had Ruby approve in chat. Sherry,
Approve. Or yes.
Tamara,
Oops, yes.
all right, of the 7 members present and voting, all are approved. And the motion is passed for Christina to be the other co-chair.
Thanks, Kelsey. Congratulations, Christina.
I did see Shauna's hand, so just in case,
Yes.
Shauna, as you were just approved, your first official meeting will be the next meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you. We are moving through orders of business very well today. I appreciate everybody's patience and diligence in all of this. Yay, we had some good elections today. Let's see, we actually have a little bit of time left. I didn't have the break scheduled for another 10 minutes. So I'm wondering if we should.
I move that we take an early break, Marvin.
Okay. Anybody second?
Yes, me.
Mustafa seconds for
Yes.
early break. Okay, that sounds good.
For this one, we can do a voice vote. So all of those in favor, please come off mute or raise your hand.
I'm
and
sorry
say-
to stop you, but what you asked did not come through on captioning, so I don't even know what you're voting on.
Oh, let me repeat
didn't pick it
Thank you,
up.
Christina. So the motion is to have an early break, to take an early break right now. So those who are in favor, please come off mute and say aye.
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 Okay.
I
Those against, please come off mute and say nay.
yeah.
And from the call, the ayes have it. We will take an early break.
Well, Bella, will we take
Yeah.
a 6-minute break?
Yeah, it looks like at 2:49, so we will be back here in 6 minutes. Go ahead and feel free to go off camera. And when you come back, if you can turn on your camera so that we know that you're back and available, and enjoy your break. Thanks. Thank you to those coming back in. If you can, just briefly open up your Zoom video to let us know, or raise your hand or leave in the chat that you are now available and back from break. That would be appreciated. Thank you. Nice to see everyone popping in. Give just a couple seconds here more. Again, thank you for everyone participating this month's robust voting, and welcome to the new co-chair and member. Very exciting. Okay, while everybody is still coming back online, our next agenda item is the upcoming SBC planned trainings and updates on those. So I don't see Daniel back in the room. I'll go ahead and start. Our first training of this year we held a month and a half ago, and we're trying to find and coordinate, days and times for everyone that is, agreeing with a variety of schedules. And we had a light turnout of our committee members for that first training, but it was very robust discussion on HMIS reporting and how we are operating within all of these systems, what requirements are, what does the reporting schedule look like, large, high level, review of those metrics and what it is that we're working towards consistently on our localized level. And because we had a very robust discussion in form of the training, and there was a lot of in-depth, questioning going on around these processes, we decided at that point that it would behoove us to have a second additional HMIS reporting training, and have tentatively scheduled that for sometime in June, preferably early to mid, which is knocking on our doors within the next week. There has not been a date scheduled and a time scheduled for that at current, but we are working on that. And if it does have to get pushed to the middle or the end of the month, I encourage everyone to reach out to me. Christina is going to be brought into our weekly communications, our planning, and everything that we have been moving forward. But if at any time you have any questions, if you have any requests of when you would like to be able to attend a training, if it's more convenient for you, if there's any accommodations that need to be met ahead of time, so that we make sure that your full participation is available, and that we are making those accommodations prior to any kind of events or trainings. Please always reach out to me, and now Christina or Daniel, so that we can make sure that everybody has the opportunity to attend the trainings. They're very important. They're a part of our requirements. And besides this, that you're going to be receiving the date and the time for the next training, one of the other items that is on the agenda for near future trainings is to go into the wellness blueprint and the work that we started last year. And what Tamara was bringing up in our cultural share, a portion of our cultural share, understanding the framework, understanding the 5 domains, understanding where the metrics have been already started to be worked on by the SPC last year. It is work that we need to forward this year. We have a new co-chair, we have new members. We need to make sure that everybody feels that they are grounded within the wellness blueprint, and that we can move that work forward in the near future for the SPC. So that's what I have. Would you like to add anything about the upcoming trainings, Daniel?
Yeah, I just want to I'm open for questions. I'm also very open to specific areas where people feel like, oh, I think I'm a little soft on what this means, and I want to help with that. The other thing I want to elevate is with the COC board, and Kelsey's here today, which is a real bonus. I think trying to be effective and reach the broadest group as much as possible and not duplicate efforts. So I think what I'll do is be working internally to see. We'll do this training, obviously, of course, like this is on the schedule, and then how do we force multiply and do this as one unified set of governance boards and committees? Oh, you are here.
Is it possible to take the?
It is. Could we get maybe like 3 minutes?
Yeah.
And then we'll be out. I'm so sorry. Oh. Yes. Sorry, just a little interruption on the room for on. But so trying to align these so that we can have the broadest membership possible come to these trainings so everyone can learn about it and then have that discussion piece. The other thing I want to say is why this is so important for me to this data literacy piece for this group is so important is with innovations and the aspirations of what Tamara brings to the table for Wellbeing Blueprint and trying to measure things differently. You all have a need to know how we're currently measuring the system so that we can build or depart from that as we go forward. And the difference between a government framework, a HUD framework, really of performance evaluation, where that falls short for our community needs and operations on performance. And that's where these trainings are so important, because then you can understand how does HUD, what does HUD say, whether this is good or bad by their measurements, but what do we say locally, and how do we measure that locally, and if we want to improve on that for our own system. I'll stop there, open up for discussion. I think one of the hard parts here is we got to change rooms on our end. So I think we'll probably go dark for just like 1 or 2 minutes here, but we'll be back. I'm sorry, there's just folks waiting, so we want to be respectful of that.
Yeah, thank you for letting us know, Daniel. And thank you for the information and a little bit more context for the reasoning behind it. So I can expand in the participation that I had with the initial HMIS reporting training. Yes, it's very important, and I've diagnosed from the very beginning, communications is one of my strong points in my background. And I've been working to make sure that communications, not only in the SPC, but hopefully even broader within the COC, get streamlined, and so that these trainings can be offered not just to our committee members, and making sure that we do the accommodations, that we understand the scheduling challenges and try to meet those as best as we can. For the most part, we're doing hybrids. People are available, and usually we do have the space set up, the physical space for people to be able to attend in person, as Marvin's doing, as well as online. But if anybody has any questions, or if you have any feedback or comments concerning upcoming trainings, whether it's our communications going out for people to attend these, or if you have even more background on the wellness blueprint to bring to the table, and why this is important to get this understanding and this bearing of the HMIS systems and the reporting requirements that we currently have, so that we can then start looking at this next level and dimension of the domains within wellness, because we are, with this changing tide and current that's going on, that Shauna alluded to, and that we all feel and see consistently in our work. It's important to get a really good bearing on why are we here with the SPC, and what are they asking for. But then the inherent next evolution of that is there something better? Can this be better? How does that look? So while they're still dark, if anybody has any comments or anything concerning our trainings coming up, please raise them in the room right now, so that we can make sure that we are addressing any challenges or meeting any desires about upcoming trainings. Well, that was a very quick transition. It's nice to see you back in here, Ruby and Daniel, so quickly.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did we
You're
miss?
welcome.
Is it, okay.
Not much. I was just saying, you know, I reiterated the importance of what you're talking about by really encapsulating the HMIS reporting so that we can then have a good handle on this is the work that we're required to do, but then this is the next level and being able to go into that other, you know, dimension of wellness and really looking at that to try and establish metrics because things are changing and are already operating under a different paradigm from a national level to a state level to a localized level. And so where do we ground ourselves and our work in the opportunities that are out there? And if we have a framework to be looked at and that's already been approved to be reviewed, that it's important to move that forward. But with new members and, you know, new co-chairs and such, getting that grounding in there is important, incredibly important. So
Yeah, and if I could, like, you know, just to be, I guess, a little bit candid about it, I see you all as you know, champions of the data collection and reporting, but not in like a HUD way, but when in the spaces that you occupy, in the groups that you're a part of, other committees, where somebody misstates something or they're trying to describe a figure, I really, my hope is that you all are at a point by the end of this year that you can, you know, sort of disinfect a mischaracterization of the HMIS. If someone says this is how we're measuring it, you can say, actually, no, that's not how that report works. I just want to make sure what I really want to do is make you all as expert as you're willing to go with me on this stuff. And so that you know what I know, and that you know, myself, you know, Marvin's been doing this work for years. Bella, you know, we've all been doing this for years, and I think it'd be great if you can all represent this work and be able to articulate that. And that's really my goal. Is I want to make this what's the word here? I want to build your competencies to have some really high levels, because this work is so important, and I want to invest in this committee because it's also really important that you all are able to talk about these performance metrics and all the spaces that you occupy, and to be able to be the interpreter to the folks that you serve. I mean, ultimately, I want this data to get back to those individuals so that they can correct anything that or give input on how we're measuring things, and that they ultimately, you can scaffold them through that. You know, someone dealing in crisis and trauma, I don't expect them to be able to pick up data literacy and go through a training like you're experiencing homelessness, like deal with that. But where it's possible, you all can, you know, share like this is what people are saying about you, and then bring that back up as we're designing performance metrics, as we're designing well-being metrics. You're really the part of that critical information supply chain to the people that you serve. And I'll shut up because I think I'm sounding a little bit like on a soapbox about it. I just want you to know I care.
you're passionate. Exactly. You know what? Bring the passion, Daniel. I appreciate it. I'm sure other people probably do too. It does reflect the importance of what it is that we're doing. And there is a certain understanding that should or that can be met, right? It can be met. And that's what we're trying to do with the training. So yeah, keep fighting the good fight, Daniel.
Well, and that also means I need input from this committee on how you want to learn.
Yeah.
What works? Is it visual? Is it looking at the math? Do you want me to explain it on kind of a different levels of complexity? Where do we want to start? I have some background in instruction in training, so I'm not so I know enough to that I'll need to get answers from you all on those, and what's the best way to like wrap the information around the way that you will learn it. What we did in our last one was maybe a little technical, maybe a little bit heavy in the math. And so if I need to step back or pull or go deeper, I want to hear that from you all. are like, that was just wasn't that great of a training. I don't think I retained anything. I want to know that, not because you're being critical. It's just because I need you to know this stuff. And I want to know where you're at on that.
Well, we talked about post-training surveys as well, but you know, my takeaway from the last one was that high-level information actually drilled down into more of a personal narrative and a questioning. And that's when the discussion element of it started to become a lot richer. And I felt that there was a lot more connection for people when there was that kind of interpersonal dialogue and that discussion. But you know, and they'll come about however they come about. But yeah, we have talked about the survey. I am going to move to the next agenda item. We're waffling back and forth about being ahead of schedule and behind schedule, but it's appropriate that you were talking, and we've been talking about this second HMIS training, because we're at the point in the agenda to go over the HMIS administrative report with BitFocus.
Yeah, thank you for that. Rohan, I'd like to introduce Rohan, and then Rohan, I'll actually let you introduce yourself, and thank you for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Rohan Samuel, one of the community admin specialists at BitFocus. It was supposed to be Lauren today, but she has some family emergency. So I will be going over the updates from our BitFocus side. So I would like to share my screen really quick. Okay.
Rohan, do you have that option to share your screen?
Yeah, I just requested and I got it.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah. Can everyone see my screen okay? Okay, so the first thing I wanted to go over was just a quick stats over our system. So in total, we have 146 active agencies, and out of all those active agencies, we have 1,574 active users, and we have 642 active programs from all those agencies. The housing inventory count and the point-in-time count, as you all know, it's very similar, but they have their own differences. The housing inventory counts goes over the beds and units dedicated to serving homelessness, and the point-in-time goes over the number of people experiencing homelessness on a specific night. So both are HUD-level reports. So regarding those reports, we go over some of the data elements that have data errors in the community, and those data elements are households with undefined head of households, unknown household types, clients missing bed nights for emergency shelter night-by-night project type, overlapping enrollments, date of birth, program site address, utilization. So for the point in time, we reached out to a couple of agencies because of their low utilization, and some agencies were overutilized. So in total, we reached out to 73 agencies, which included 381 programs, and those outreach was started on March 3rd, 2025. So a quick update on where we are at right now. So of 381 programs we reached out to, 346 programs confirmed that their programs are, their inventories are accurate. 4 agencies are receiving technical assistance. 10 projects were closed before the PIT night or the PIT day, which is 1/30/2025. 1 program was open after the PIT night. We are waiting on the non-participating agencies data, which includes 19 agencies, and 1 agency is unresponsive. So for the agencies that are receiving technical assistance, those 4 agencies are HopeLink, Low Income Housing Institute, Urban League of Seattle, and the Abused Deaf Women's Advocacy Services. This was updated as of 5/15, and we have made some progress after that. So this table will get updated, but this is where we are at right now. And just an update on the biannual security compliance. Just want to go over why we do that. Since we all work with claim data, it is important to ensure the basic privacy and security practices are in place and that it is monitored regularly. For the agencies or for all the agencies that use Workstation, it is important that the HMIS data collection, data entry, and reporting must be certified compliant. And all the partner agencies, we expect that they adhere to these practices throughout the year. So the first deadline for the biannual security compliance was on March 31, 2025. The second one, or the second compliance, is due on September 30th, which we will reach out. But for the March 31st, we reached out to 119 agencies, and 3 agencies remain currently out of compliance. We have not heard back from them, and they are Friends of Benefits, HOPE, KCRHA, and the Organization for Prostitute Survivors. And yes, Bella.
I guess I'm a little bit surprised to see KCRHA on that list. Is there information about what is still out of compliance?
Yes, I can speak to that. This is Daniel, everybody. KCRHA is on the list. We have a very sequenced signature process on our end. So we're actually done with our compliance security checklist. It's just in process of getting the final signature from our CEO's office. So that's what we're waiting on. So the content's there. What that means really, and Rohan, thank you. I'm not trying to kind of re-go over what you.
Yeah, no problem.
But essentially, every agency has to say how many users they have, and that each user is adhering to the rules of using HMIS. And KCRHA, we have a lot of users, and we've got that checklist done. And what we're doing is just waiting for the final signature from our CEO's office, and they get to those things. You know, it's a busy CEO's office, like anything else. And then for FOB HOPE, and then the other groups, our process is to notify them that they're out of compliance, and then we would be taking the next step, if we don't hear back, of deactivating their accounts until they get back to us. What we're doing right now, when I'm working with the BitFocus team, is an analysis of, do we have any active enrollments here? Because the last thing we want to do is shut down an agency's access if they're actually using it. A lot of times it comes down to we need an updated touch point, or who their person is, and sometimes that can change from year to year. You know, there's turnover at agencies, and so we try to exhaust every avenue before we get to shutting them off. And I can't speak to what's happening there yet. We're still waiting to hear back, but we're going to do that. Our next step is doing analysis to see if they're actively working in it, and if not, then what we have to do is go ahead and shut those agencies off. And I think actually we're at that point with both of those. For KCRHA, again, just reiterating, ours is in final signature. We just have a signatory process here that's working through that process. But KCRHA, we've got all of our staff have done the checklist. We're good to go. So just trying not to make sure I'm not raising alarm bells here. We're just waiting for a signature on that from our CEO's office.
Well, it's definitely at least an inquiry that needed to be had, but thank you for that, Danielle. There is a comment in the chat that Christina works with FOB. So maybe we should make sure that if we're trying to connect people to make sure that we do everything we can to maintain in compliance, that if we do have internal members.
This is Christina. I have a question about that. FOB HOPE is more active in Pierce County than they are in King County. That is their home base. So if one is in, are we sure, how am I going to word it? Are they totally out? Because HMIS is also it's also in Pierce County. And I would say 98% of their clients are Pierce County. And so are we checking with the other county to make sure that they may be out of compliance for us, but they may be in compliance for them?
A really good
That's a good point.
For clarification, we only oversee the HMIS instance for Seattle and King County.
Correct.
So if they're using HMIS over, I'm sorry, you said Pierce?
Pierce County.
Correct,
Pierce
yeah, they're a
County.
Tacoma-based group.
Tacoma, so they have their own HMIS and they would have their admins over there would have their own processes for that. All I can speak to is their activity and responsiveness for our
King County.
HMIS region.
Mhm.
Hopefully that clarifies that. So we wouldn't shut down access for them in Pierce County. I wouldn't have even the ability to do that. All I can do is work within the Seattle King County HMIS region. Yeah.
And this
But
is another question I have. I'm sorry to butt in, Bella.
That's okay.
Is there any, and I'm talking bigger region, like, because we have several agencies that are in Snohomish, King, Kitsap, Pierce, that kind of thing. Is there any state level discussion on, because that we're also talking an organization with 2 administrative people all together. And so if you've got these smaller orgs and you're expecting them to be compliant in 3 or 4 or 5 counties, that's out of their ability. So is there any discussion about integrating that or working that out, if you see where I'm going with that?
I think I'm understanding. Yeah. If an organization, I mean, if what another way to put this is if you think about like Salvation Army, they're a national organization. So they're gonna have to work with each one of the COCs that they may be a part of, not just in Washington, but in California, New York, wherever they're located. There isn't at a national level, there is no connection of data systems like that. At the state level, we have HMIS. They have a login for Pierce County if they're doing that. We share an instance with the state, but the data infrastructure is such that they're almost they are completely separate databases. And when we do share info, they pull that in aggregate for their reporting at the state level. But that doesn't speak to what you're talking about, which is like operationally, how does it work? I suppose is kind of what you're circling around. Maybe I can't release them of any burden or responsibilities they have that they're obligated to follow for other HMIS systems that they're working in.
I guess more the question is this the same training for everybody? So if I do it in King County, it's eligible for Pierce County, or are we all?
Yeah, that's a no.
That's a hard no.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's where I was confused. Thank you so much.
Okay, appreciate that clarification. Yeah.
But yes, thank you for the context, Daniel, and the information. But yeah, regarding the FOB and the OPS organization, I will run a report looking into if any clients are enrolled, and then I will update you in our meeting tomorrow, Thursday meetings. And yeah, that's all the updates we had from the BitFocus side.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you for being here. Are there any other additional comments or questions? Marvin, your hand's up.
I want to thank you for coming. Hopefully we'll get these as we move along. And I think what will be part of our data literacy is better understanding how what we collect or what we use actually impacts the communities around us. How, not necessarily where the data comes from, what is it used for, why we're choosing to do it. I think are learning touch points. I don't think I know for me, it would be very helpful if I understood more of how that ties in with our HMIS collection. So thank you. That was my comment.
Thank you, Marvin. If there are no more questions about the BitFocus admin report right now, the next item on our agenda is with Marvin, and one of the commitments that we have made, Marvin and I working together, is to continually start reviewing our SPC annual work plan at our monthly meetings so that we have a very clear understanding as to where we are currently in the year and what we still have to attend to, and make sure if we need help with from the committee members, that that awareness is being brought to the forefront in our monthly meetings. So I'll hand it over to you, Marvin. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. Did we want to use your checklist? Or do we want to just briefly review the plan for the year?
Yeah,
I know they tie together, just I don't know what to show first.
Yeah, what I'll show first for the group, to just start us off, is the work plan that we do have. So let me show you that for everybody, and this is gonna just take a second, make sure I got it queued up here. Thanks everyone for your patience. This is just going to take just a minute. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, I know it's very tiny. I will make sure that this gets into the posted to the website for this month's meeting, so you can all reference it. Just a little bit of geography on this work plan. In our agreement with BitFocus, they help to put this together year after year for us. And what you'll see in the work plan is a lot of this is ongoing work. So system administration, for example, again, this is just kind of the geography, and we can get into specifics here, but what you'll see is the project or the activity / work, and then in this section here, these gray boxes just represent that it's ongoing in perpetuity for the entire year. So some things are continuously worked on. So for example, act as the implement HMIS and act as liaison to the COC. So having the HMIS work, the software come up, people can log in and use it. That's part of the work plan to make sure that that's continuing. So for this group, if I were to have an outage or an issue or the system goes down, you would be one of the first groups to notify, like, hey, we have a critical infrastructure issue here. Now that's different than like a day-to-day where a server gets a little bit of a surge and users have to, like refresh their page. That's not what I'm talking about. But if there was some catastrophic issue, this board would be brought up to speed on, how that could impact this. There's nothing like that happening, just so everyone knows. It's an example. And then monitor user agreements, COC governance charter. This is another really good example of things that we do ongoing in our work plan. So every time there's a new program that gets contracted and there's a requirement to use HMIS, an ongoing administrative piece in this work plan is that we get those agency agreements. We make sure that they're trained. We make sure that they know how to talk about HMIS consent to clients, and then training happens for new agencies. And if I were to go down here later in our work plan, you'll see technical support is in here. And this really all comes back to our contract with BitFocus. So as we contract with them, we build in that they have these requirements to fulfill in the work plan for HMIS. I'm going to stop there and kind of take some questions here.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and then Mark,
are there any questions? Well, I was going to say that the highlighted yellow pieces are where we interact.
Yes.
It's where the committee, I think is looking for involvement. So if we don't have an ongoing, we just need to see how we want to start it. And that's why I wanted to review the plan, because we don't want to keep leaving things on the table because we don't take time to review.
And with only so many meetings too.
We have 12 meetings a year. So, yeah. So are there questions so far?
And Marvin, I don't know where if you're going
Yeah.
in this direction.
Daniel?
I think, yeah. Oh, there is a question in the chat.
No, I wanted to raise a question. So you're showing us what, this contract with BitFocus is, what they were just, presenting a portion of for us. And that there, is this need for us to make sure that we fully understand this. We see this, it's being put up on the website, so it's public facing. And these areas, the architecture of it, these areas that are highlighted are things that we want to make sure that we're fully aware of as an SPC in regards to BitFocus's contract and their work that they're regularly or sporadically doing. What is this next piece that you're showing us coming up? Is that because this is the day-to-day minutia of things that they are doing on our behalf and in contract with us that we need to make sure, do we have any questions around? Do we need to have better understanding or a training or something about? But is this next piece the annual, requirements from HUD? That's what I understood that we were going to place up here today so that people could understand the larger picture and where we are in that, and then as well as the smaller picture of what happens day to day and by who.
Yeah, I may ask for some clarification on that first point.
Well, I don't think it lands with Daniel. I think it would land with me. I thought it would be easier if folks saw the annual work plan we approved in January and how that has rolled out. There's also another way to present this information, and that is to look at the checklist on how we're charting along through the annual plan. There is a schedule of things that should be on our docket or on our agenda each month throughout the year. And if it's capturing all that we want, that's great, but it's better to catch that we may not have done some things like had second trainings or other stuff be not left behind, but re-looked at. Does that make any sense? Maybe
it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, but I'm also wanting to raise, the observation here that what we're looking at right now is being dictated off of a contract that has been negotiated based off of these standards on a national level that we need to meet and that we have responsibilities around. So the way that this particular document is formatted, while it's helpful and it gives us the indicators that we're looking for, I think that maybe what might be a little bit more helpful for us as a SPC, and especially on a monthly basis, is to see and maybe reformulate this so that it's a bullet point of what it is that we need to get done through the year, where things are, so that it's a really quick synopsis when we do these reviews every single month. This is my preference. Because I think that it's a lot easier to take in bite-sized information on a much larger level with a year-long, planning schedule around it than to sit here and try to dial into the minutia of what their contract specifically is saying that they need to meet the requirements of. You know what I mean?
I fully understand. So once again, I always think it's the way that I present. I was not clear that the highlighted yellow pieces, such as the quarterly quality review, quarterly dashboards and reports, develop overlapping review of process, for agencies. That's work they would do, not us, but we would receive reporting. We asked and we received space in this work plan to
Update one of our community reports.
Yeah. Yes, that was work that was added to it. So, but I don't think it's been scheduled yet, has it?
Yeah, and I think this is a good point for all
That's
community
fine.
members to know is like when we look at this, well, where we really need committee support is
what Tamara's bringing forward, like with the Wellbeing Blueprint on Road 37, this is a good example where we need to get that. We have this on the work plan. Our BitFocus team is hovering in the wings to update that report. And we just need to bring our minds to bear on what is that metric going to look like so that we can update that and get that done for the year, which is something that we are, we said that we would try to accomplish this year. We do, we're getting close to halfway through the year, but we still have plenty of time to make sure that we get these pieces done.
Okay.
Is that
I
a little bit more
appreciate that.
helpful, Bella? I mean, once
It
again,
is. Yeah, I
sometimes-
get all of this. It's just the way that it's being, presented to a certain extent, but also for future monthly meetings, because I've like allocated, just like 5 minutes or whatever of time for this. I think it's important that we start discussing how can we break these down even further to
Yes.
know what might be being behind, that we absolutely have to raise to the forefront and bring to a review and a discussion and or a vote, or get more committee members to be, dedicated to helping something, take place. I'd like to see us just, filter this information into something that's going to be a lot easier to not just present, but for people to be able to, absorb when we're sending emails out on a weekly basis, or we're sending out the pre-monthly meeting, informational email with the documents in it, so that when we do talk about it, if there are any questions, we can drill down into the items that we're seeing, are behind or that are coming up on the docket next. But we're giving everybody just something that is a lot quicker synopsis. That's my preference.
Absolutely.
And we'll work on it.
Hopefully this gives me the opportunity to invite folks to the Monday planning meeting, because while it might be too big for a board meeting, we have space to where we can do that. So more detailing work. And I invite folks to join Bella and Christina, and Ruby, Tamara, others also join from every now and again. It is a good place for us to finish through our work.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Thank you for the segue on this. Go ahead, and I'm sorry, finish what you were going to present today.
Well, I was giving it back over. I will come back with a better presentation so that the rest of the board can see it, and they'd like to help us build it. We meet at 9:30.
We'll work on that. Yes.
Yes.
We'll work on that then.
I'm
Thanks,
not
Marvin.
prepared, nor am I not that flexible with technology to shift necessarily to a necessary better presentation. I'll work on it and get back to us. We haven't hit the halfway mark yet, but we're close.
I do think it's important to have all of this context, though, and we do need to have this up so that people can see what it is that we're working on, not only for us that are working on it, but for also just transparency. So we are a little bit behind schedule, but I want to make sure that we have the opportunity, Ruby, you're still in here, right? Yeah, okay. To invite you up to talk a little bit further about the federal funding update. That is something that was shared not too long ago with everyone. And when we've had our planning meetings, it's arisen that it's important that everybody understands where we currently are in this very, shifting environment. And so I invite you at this time, Ruby, to bring that to the forefront.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Bella, and for giving a bit of a context there. So many people may have been or may not have been following the administration and how they've been I don't want to say that word, how they've been addressing certain aspects of programming. And so I just wanted to offer that we did get a pretty thorough, in-depth report from the general counsel of KCRHA, and he gave us a pretty good update at our last board meeting. I do encourage anybody who's very interested to learn the details, or as we were saying earlier, I love this word, minutia of the situation. I would encourage them to go back and find that on, what was it? The May 2nd board meeting, I believe. Yeah, but what I will inform everyone today is that currently we are receiving contracts. They are coming in just slowly. And we have entered, or well, not we, but the KCRHA has, I believe, entered into potential lawsuits on that accord of like what the administration is pushing back against. Long story short, there's a lot of lawyer terms that go into this, and I'm probably not characterizing it correctly. So I don't want to speak on the actual lawsuit because that's not something that the COC is like technically directly related to, other than, you know, because the contract portion is a KCRHA portion. But we need to be paying attention to what's going on at the administration's level. They are currently reviewing documents that are posted to HUD's website for the COC program. So that is something that I do see actively happening, and hope that they find value in those documents, and that we can continue to do the good work that we're doing. And yeah, I hope that answers some of the questions. I know there's a lot of unsure, there's a lot of things that we don't know right now. So I just want to encourage people to stay up to date and to remember that what you might be hearing in real time isn't going to be necessarily the actual outcome of the situation. And just thanks for everybody for staying vigilant on this and for asking these questions.
Thank you, Ruby. And I know that you don't necessarily have the direct information in front of you, but as far as you understand, the majority of all of this discussion, any of the lawsuits through the state, any of the legal parameters that are, publicly recorded, those are all available through the KCRHA website. Is this information that's being shared publicly? It's my understanding that this is public information.
Yeah, my understanding is also that this is public information. I'm not sure where anyone could find the actual documents of the, if there is a lawsuit or if they've entered into that. But what I can say is that at our board meeting, which was on the YouTube, at the KCRHA YouTube for this past May meeting, has a really good description of it, and anything publicly mentioned there has been publicly mentioned by the city or the county as well.
Okay, thank you. Marvin, you have your hand up.
I was going to try to give a quick synopsis of the case, but at the last governing board meeting, they voted on signing on to a case that challenges new federal grant conditions that, according to the complaint, pressure cities to adopt political positions like scaling back DEI efforts or cooperating with federal immigration enforcement in exchange for housing and transit funding. The lawsuit argues that these conditions overstep federal authority, weren't approved by Congress, and could disrupt the essential services people who rely for the people who rely on them. So that's kind of what the case is about. And if you want to see the documents, you can go to the last governing board meeting, because they voted on for KCRHA to sign on to the lawsuit.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Yeah, Marvin, thank you for that. So yes, it is up on public.
Yeah.
I having the URLs at ready, I apologize. It would be a strong effort here.
Bella, to send out.
Okay.
And I just want to temper a little bit of that. And Ruby, thank you for raising this up. Just to temper that a little bit, the governing voted to approve KCRHA to join. I don't know that that means that the KCRHA has made that decision yet. I'm not in that space, so I can't speak to it. I just know that it was a very specific vote to allow to join, not that they have that KCRHA has joined. And I'm not a lawyer either, so I don't know if the distinction matters. But that's the extent of my knowledge.
and I don't want to overrepresent something that is not within the HMIS scope or data management. So that's a little bit out of my lane. And that's more
No,
of an
but that
level.
that is what I remember as well, Daniel. Thank you for referencing that. You're absolutely correct. There was so thanks for that clarification.
I would like to ask, do we have any other, does anybody have any questions in relation to this topic, or just anything that has been coming up that you're seeing in your communities? One of the things that did come up at the COC board meeting that I felt was very important, and it's this reflection piece, such as reviewing, our work plan and how, no matter how it's presented, this is the work that we're here to do. How can we make sure that, we understand it as best as we can? But one of the things that came up at the COC board meeting is this reflective piece, that these are the numbers of what is actually happening in our communities right now. And I asked, to move that we constantly not just hold space for that individually, because it's an emotional reaction a lot of the time when we're starting to realize that these policies and these systems are breaking down, and we're here to not only try to help support them and prop them up, but we're here to also look at how do we change them. We're talking about how are we going to change them? Can we look at blueprints? Can we look at metrics? Can we do something? So we're taking on a lot of different things at the same time that these systems are showing their cracks and starting to collapse, which is invigorating to me, but it also is scary, and it's, disheartening, and it's sad, and it's turbulent. So I personally want to make sure that we are holding space for people and your reactions. You're in the community, you're living it, we're living, different elements of this, and this information, even though we classify it and call it data, and we have, goals and expectations and responsibilities around it, it's very personal. And this is affecting people's lives, and it's affecting our work, and it's affecting how we do our work. And I want to make sure that I raise that up here as well, that this is a safe space for that. I want to make sure that we feel that we have this ability to not only share culture, share commonality, share our humanness, but that we have the space for this, and that we continue to raise up, what does this data look like for us right now? Are we winning? Are we succeeding? Where do we need to put in the effort and the extra, time and manpower or women power, people power, for all of this, because it is fluctuating greatly right now. And this is just one more example of how things are starting to roll out. So yeah, anyway, Sherry, you have your hand raised.
This is Christina. Could you put me in the stack?
Christina, I'm sorry, in what?
Put me in line to speak.
Oh, you're able to speak right now.
Yeah, I don't have a way of raising and I can't take myself off this. You can't see me. But one thing I've talked to, and two city council members themselves both came up to me and said, the number, and I don't know if Kelsey is on, but the 300 and something, the amount of family units we help with the money we get from the COC seemed low. And I'm wondering, and others caught on to that too, I'm wondering if there's a way to not make those numbers, to reflect those numbers, to show adequately how those numbers are working. Does that make sense? Because that was a small amount with the small amount of households or groups served with the amount of money we get. And so it left myself and others like wondering, the data didn't look well, if that makes sense. It just didn't. And so is there a way we can show what really is going into it, or show a better picture using the numbers and post that on? So when I go and talk to Kettle or somebody, and I'm talking about how many people we're serving, et cetera, compared to how many people are still out here like me. What can we do with that? Because it just, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was disappointed, but then I felt like I don't have all the information on those numbers. Does that make sense? Because we're not just helping 300, whatever the number, it was just a couple hundred, that many. We're helping a lot more. And so it just seemed like it wasn't adequately representing what we do with the COC monies.
Yeah, thank you for raising that up. And Kelsey, I'm not sure if you have a reply to that, but if I remember the information sharing in the discussion afterwards, I would like to also add that we kind of diagnosed that that number was very small, and it's because of other data points that it was, you know, focused on a particular element of the data point, but that there were a lot more people that were involved, you know, in that one count. So please correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, but you know, can we look at how can we break out that information to really show more of the breadth of it? Because it is a little bit alarming, and it was a topic that was already brought up.
Yep, that's something that will be worked on with the COC board and a COC board presentation.
That's what I thought, that we had left it. So we still have work to do on it, Christina. But it is a really important point, because it is hard to translate the work that people do if it's not necessarily reflecting the fuller picture of things. So it does distort possible perceptions for sure. Sherry, you have your hand up too, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on, because of you know, Mary's Place maintaining the King County Emergency Shelter, and me you know, having a relationship with the other partnership providers. You know, everybody across the board is really panicking. I know, like with my job, a lot of people's being laid off, and then we're not sure about funding. You know, with ours might be cut a little bit, and so it's just really it's really scary, not just for the people that we help, the folks that we help, but just even people, you know, us that have jobs, because you know, we don't know what's gonna happen. And so I just wanted to say that, like, it's just really hard out here. And you know, talking to other providers and other, you know, folks that have got laid off or still panicking as well, it's just really hard not knowing what's going on, or what's going to happen.
Thank you for bringing that up, Sherry. Yeah, and I appreciate people engaging this. Like I said, I felt that this was very important to try and add to our meetings, because this is the human element of what it is that we're doing, and it doesn't, you know, it affects a lot of people in a lot of ways. So it's important to be able to have that space that people feel that they can try and at least, you know, speak their truth about what they're seeing and what they're feeling personally. Ruby, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment about, you know, as much as it is a confusing time, that people really need to, you know, hopefully stay engaged with all these conversations that we're having today, regardless of, you know, where we're at in 6 months, you know, but the administration is going to do what the administration is going to do at this point. And so we need to stay local and stay positive about what we can do as a community, and just really find it within our, you know, sorry if I'm breaking up at all. I'm walking behind a building. I apologize. But I think that we need to just stay engaged with these conversations and hold it to the communities that we serve, and commit, you know, staying engaged and staying involved, and staying on the progression side of this, and, you know, finding wins where we have them. And then that's going to be in community. I also wanted to just raise that your recollection was correct, Bella, surrounding those numbers. And I believe that it was a snapshot of something specific. But again, that was at the COC board meeting. So this might be a little out of topic for this current meeting right now. But thank you.
Thanks, Ruby. Tamara?
Yeah, I see we're almost out of time. And before that, I wanted to put in a plug. Forgive the self-interest, but I have a coach who's willing to do a moderated discussion with us about implementing well-being and integrating it into our data, like performance and our metrics and all that. And I'm reaching out to folks in this group and a couple of other groups that I work with for any volunteers who want to help directly shape the first iteration of feedback and audit tool of the homeless response system here in King County. This is an opportunity to weigh in on that and its development, because I'm hoping to, really start involving the community directly with the process of developing well-being oriented metrics. And I am proud to say that I have been blessed by Full Frame Initiative, the like originators of the Wellbeing Blueprint and the 5 domains of well-being, to be a steward of their mission now that they're ending at the end of this month. My heart is broken, but I am deeply honored and grateful to be designated a steward. And it is my role to make sure that the legacy is, continues. And I want to be able to apply their legacy to the homeless response system here in King County. And for me personally, also to blend it with the values and cultural wisdom of Polynesia, because I'm as I'm learning about all of this following the passing of my auntie, I am seeing and resonating deeply with the values and the healing-centered practices and the collective care models that are inherent in a lot of Polynesian cultures and island countries. So that's my personal journey, and I want to see what everybody else's journey is regarding what do you want to see this community look like in 5-10 years. Now is our opportunity, and we have to be healing, and rest is also resistance. So finding productive ways to resist and being persistent as hell. That's
yeah. The nap minister. Yes, rest as resistance. I'm very tuned to that as well. Thank you, Tamara. Ruby, you still have your hand up. Did you have something else? Oh, okay.
This is Christina. I have a for good of the order thing. May 31st, which is a Saturday, there is a veteran stand down, and it encompasses King, Pierce, and across the water, Kitsap counties. I think Thurston's also going to be there. And they're going to enroll veterans into coordinated entry, provide, various services based on HUD-VASH, etc. It is at the Tacoma Dome, and it is the one that's going to be covering King County for this year. So it's kind of hard for some of our people to get down to the Tacoma Dome. There is a bus that gets people there, but if possible, let your veterans know. And it's also for vets looking for jobs, housing and security. All veterans type issues will be there. And it is from 9 till 4 at the Tacoma Dome on the 31st of May.
Thank you, Christina. I really appreciate people bringing more and that this invitation is here. Maybe we'll have to work this into the agenda as a closing piece, and how to be able to make sure that information that you guys have, good, bad, or otherwise, because it's all going to be relevant to somebody out there at some point. How we can work this in to our overall SPC communications. But I do see that we are right at the hour. And if there is not any public comment, if there is any other final questions or any items for this monthly meeting, I ask that you raise them now. Otherwise, it looks like we are done with our May SPC monthly meeting. And I appreciate everybody's time as always. And please feel free to email. And now Christina, welcome Christina. Welcome Shauna. And we just keep doing the good work and growing as best as we can with each other. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. Thank you very much.
I
And
so
we will
move
talk
to
to you again.
adjourn.
A move to adjourn, yes.
Congrats, Christina. I make a motion to adjourn.
Well, thank you, Ruby. I'll second
Thank
it.
you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.